all these rejections from the middle Bollinger Band.
Resistance we're going to need.
If you actually see here, we get a
And we'll look for a healthy higher
I
low.
would not
don't have
be
the
convinced
pullback
to
to
enter
cross
long
structure.
trade.
Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. It's June 2nd. We're getting into summer. It's a nice morning. Maybe it's night where you are, I don't know. I got a new shirt. It's the Ethereum label or logo, and it's got the rainbow Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon through it. Pink Floyd's a one-hit wonder band from the 70s you might have heard of, but I can assure you it's a cool shirt. So, want to talk about yesterday, and the bulls are showing up, and I was wrong in terms of anticipating the top of the daily move being in, and I like being wrong because it gives us an opportunity to learn. I shouldn't say I like being wrong, but can fully accept when I'm wrong because it happens a lot. The more you trade, the more it happens. You need to be very comfortable and able to move on, learn from it, but move on from mistakes when you are wrong. And this is a scenario where I was fortunate enough to make profit by being wrong, which is always the best case scenario, but I'll explain that as well. And it's the kind of thing where if you compare it to free throws in basketball, where if you take 5 free throws, you can make 4 or 5 of those free throws. The odds of hitting those numbers are not too hard. But if you take 100 free throws, you're going to miss a couple dozen at least. So the more you trade, if you're making hundreds of trades a year, you're going to be wrong a lot more than someone who's making a dozen trades a year. So again, it's something that we have to accept and be very comfortable with being wrong. Anyways, I was anticipating the daily high being set with the double top at exponential resistance, and it was the fact that we lost the 4-hour higher low pattern on Bitcoin right here that made me feel that the momentum was going to shift and we were going to see the bulls attempt a higher low in the 7,200s. So that obviously did not happen. The bulls showed up and a nice recovery, and we're seeing this pattern where we get the famous Bart Simpson that everybody talks about dumps, where people call this market manipulation, and it probably is, but that's just speculation. And the recoveries have been significant. So it's an all-out dump very quickly, and then it's just comparatively a prolonged recovery. And we've seen this multiple times now where that has been the case. So we broke over some key resistance that I was looking at in the 7,600 range. And that's a positive sign for the bulls. But about being wrong, so it was my feeling that it was a more likely scenario, it was my opinion, a more likely scenario that we were going to pull back from here. But I said I was going to stick to my game plan on Ethereum, my swing position, and say I'm only exiting if the 4-hour higher low pattern is lost. Here was our support. On GDAX, we held that support by less than $1. So even though I thought something, if I didn't have a trade game plan, I would have said, I think we're going to pull back now. I'm going to sell my Ethereum in the mid 570s and be protective. Because I stuck to my game plan, even though I was thinking it was going to pull back, I was not stopped out of the trade, and I was able to profit more and still in this position as the bulls are still in control. So it's a scenario where my game plan and sticking to it allowed me to completely disregard the emotional or what I thought was going to happen, and it ended up beneficial in this instance. So let's get into the Big Four analysis. And just a reminder again, for the next 2 weeks, we're going to switch things up, and we're going to do BTC ETH every single day, and one day it's going to be EOS and IOTA, and then the other day it's going to be Litecoin and BCH, and that's just going to switch day by day. So checking in on the weekly time frame, we're going to start on the longer term time frames, and this candlestick now, the bullish reversal candlestick on the weekly time frame, is nice and convincing for the bulls. We do have another day to go, but bulls would like to see more volume. It would be a really confident sign if we could see an increase in volume compared to the consolidation weeks. Not necessary, but would be nice. It is a bullish reversal candlestick. If we see this as our higher low and get confident in it with a daily higher low and higher high change in trend, we're going to be looking for a lower high to be set on the weekly time frame. Just visually, I gave a rough estimation of 8,500. It could be 8,000, or it could be 9,000, it could be 8,200. It's just a rough visual estimation of a potential target to be looking for if this bounce continues to play out. So there's a couple scenarios. How could this play out from here? If this is our higher low, we could just see a bounce and show a lot of strength and break the resistance of 9,948, 9,000, essentially 10,000 psychological, we can call that. But that would be the most bullish scenario. Another scenario is we bounce up, set the lower high, and pull back to a higher low, and that would take us to the end of June to see this pattern continue to tighten. And the bear scenario is a bounce, a lower high on the weekly, and then a bear break of $7,058, which we can essentially call 7,000 psychological, and that would be the bear scenario. So those are the three scenarios of how I anticipate this playing out. The daily time frame, again, like I said, it does need to change the trend. So we're still on this initial move from the low, and every single day is a higher low. And we did have that confidence holding inside bar on the daily time frame yesterday. So even though the 4-hour time frame broke the higher low pattern, we did still maintain the daily inside bar, and then we just broke the daily inside bar bullish. So if you're playing off the daily time frame, there was no sell signal at this point because we did not lose the higher low pattern. So once we do eventually top out on this bounce, and I'm no longer going to be trying to predict that because the bulls, again, are back in control. So as long as they hold this uptrend and strength, higher low every day, they're going to continue to bounce. So once we top out, we'll look to consolidate and form a higher low on the daily and then a higher high to change the trend. And the odds of that higher low being established just increase significantly because initially we could have very easily, set our lower high and headed back down. Now there's more space that we can consolidate before breaking that support level. And we look at the previous bounces and they lasted 3 days for the top, 3 days for the top, and this is now the 5th day and the top. So again, I compared in the last video the 4-hour bounces going back and comparing to the 2 times that it led to lower lows, and this is now a more prolonged bounce than either of those were. The exponential moving averages have stayed bullish after the cross longer than they did that little brief time, and it's definitely a different scenario. And again, I pointed out in the last video, the cause of this is likely because of the daily RSI bounce and the historical levels that have seen the bounce in the previous higher lows on the weekly time frame. So hourly time frame on Bitcoin, if we're zooming in, very healthy consolidation after the breakout last night. Nice big spike in volume. The bear volume is less than the bull volume. That's a good sign. And anything above 7,450 is a higher low on the hourly time frame, keeping these bulls comfortably in control. So new resistance is 7,697. And then we're just looking up at psychological levels because the next 4-hour resistance is 7,735 and then all the way up to 7,938. So there is some nice space to the upside if the bulls can keep this up. The 4-hour RSI is nowhere near overbought. We have plenty of upside. The hourly RSI, look at where it pulls back on this move. This entire bounce, we got just above 70 and pulled back. We hit 70 and pulled back. And here we are hitting 70 essentially twice and pulling back. So that's a potential target to look for some profit taking if you are a shorter term trader. Again, just historically, you don't need to go back far to look and see how it has played out on previous touches. And it was the same thing on the dumps. We saw the 15-minute RSI get oversold down around 20, and then the slow and steady bounce recovery play out. That happened twice now. So we have multiple instances in the past to be comparing to just over the past 4, 5, 6 days, and to be watching the same kind of indicators and see if they continue to play out, which they have been pretty consistently. So bullish to start the Saturday. Ethereum, start with the weekly here. So the weekly is trying to form the bullish reversal candlestick. That's a nice convincing bullish reversal candlestick. Volume is going to be on par with the bear volume because, again, we do have it's actually 2 days of trading. So let's see what the bulls can do with this volume on these charts. But looking like Ethereum is going to see an increase as we are currently need $100,000 or 100,000 volume more in the next 2 days. Certainly possible. So bullish reversal candlestick trying to form the weekly higher low. And the scenario for the weekly here on Ethereum is going to obviously see some correlation to Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin scenarios, the 3 scenarios that I gave, for Ethereum, the 3 scenarios are a V-shaped recovery, which is not a very likely scenario in my opinion, to just head right up and break 829, bounce and a lower high, perhaps somewhere in the 700, low 700 range, and then continue tightening ranges, which is the most likely scenario for both Bitcoin and Ethereum in my opinion, unless there's news, of course, which accelerates things. Or the bearish scenario is a bounce, a lower high, and then a lower low breaking 507. So those are the 3 weekly scenarios for Ethereum. Daily time frame at the exponential resistance right now. And just to go back to Bitcoin, the daily 12-period exponential, we're just above it right now. The 26 period is a ways away. That's 7,900s. Ethereum, ways away as well, but here we are at the 12 period, still not over it. So we are still rejecting from the 12 period, and Bitcoin can still easily reject from this. So that's worth keeping in mind. Close over it would be a nice sign, but we have to keep in mind as well that we know we're going to need to consolidate and form a higher low at some point. Bulls would love to see increasing volume today compared to yesterday. Long way to go before that happens. So higher low pattern on Ethereum as well. We are on our 5th day in a row of higher lows. Inside bar bull break as well. The 4-hour higher low pattern did not break. Let's look at it on the hourly time frame. So we hit the support, We came up, set our lower high. We came back, set a higher low, essentially a double bottom, another lower high. So it was essentially an hourly equilibrium into last night. And the bull break occurred here at 580.77 and saw a nice $15 move to the upside. Healthy hourly consolidation. Exponential supports are catching up. Hourly RSI is less overbought than on Bitcoin. 4-hour RSI not near overbought as well, and healthy as we head into today. So good sign for Ethereum. Again, still holding my position. I'd love to ride this one out into the mid 600s for this bounce to really get going. And again, that's something I'm practicing. I'm a very short-term trader. I'm practicing with stocks and now crypto a little bit, working on my swing trading game. And it's very hard for me because I'm constantly looking at things and always trading and on the computer. So these little micro movements capture my attention more than the broader, longer-term movements. But I am working on that. And again, always learning, always progressing as a trader. 8 years in, and I could be 28 years in, and I'm still going to be learning and shifting and tweaking my game. Got a little whistle in there, tweaking my game forever. Litecoin. Double bottom on the weekly. Equilibrium pattern. Bullish reversal candlestick. Again, volume doesn't stand out. Daily time frame. So higher lows every day. Inside bars broke bullish. We had a lot more inside bars. Same thing, 12-period exponential being tested. And Litecoin always gets the quickest review because everything that I just said to these other names applies exactly to it. There's just some slight differences. So the 4-hour time frame, we had this clear equilibrium pattern that saw a bull break. So this was one of the more clear setups recently that could have been acted on. Let's see how much upside has resulted in this move. But high, low, lower, high, higher, low, essentially a double top here. And then the bull break occurs at 120.99, and we run up to 123.80. So decent little move to the upside, nothing huge, but a couple percent on that break. We're consolidating and trying to form a 4-hour higher low, very healthy. 4-hour RSI is not overbought. Hourly RSI was and is now consolidating, attempting to form a higher low. Ideal scenario with increasing bull volume on the breakout, no notable bear volume. And again, you look at this volume bar and you say, but Dan, there's increasing bear volume. And then you look at the candlestick and say, nope, some of that's bull volume, long lower wick of bulls buying the dip. So we can't just say that that's a increasing bear volume candlestick because a good decent amount of that, you can see from the candlestick shape, was bulls buying the dip. So trying to form the higher low at 121.70. Resistance is 123.80. If the bulls can get over this resistance and see continuation after 123.80, 125.25, and look at the lack of resistance after 125.25. There's space up into the low 130s. Bulls really want to get over that level. Just to backtrack to Ethereum to get the next resistance levels here. If we see continuation over 596 and 600 psychological, the key resistance level here is 616. And it's the same thing. Let's look at the 4-hour. The lack of resistance, if we get over 616, because that's entering the area of the dump where there was not really many resistance levels built. If we stair-stepped down, that's building resistance on the way. But we free fall down, so the bulls can more easily move back up because there's less price history to act as resistance. That's where Litecoin stands. Very similar setup to everybody else. Just a little bit different setup to get there. And a little bit bullish with everybody else. I just want to check in on the LTC BTC chart to see the comparison, see if that is shifting. I can type it. And the daily time frame here is trying to change the trend. We still have a clear lower high pattern, but it's a real nice 4-hour equilibrium to be watching. And that's a nice one. Look at how long this is playing out. This is going to be a break here. That we're going to see a shift in the correlation. Essentially a double bottom and a double top and our higher low. Maybe this is our lower high. Need to see a little bit more pullback. But current support is 15.71 and then 16.17 is resistance. But watch for this break of the 4-hour time frame because later this weekend, maybe Sunday or so, by the time this breaks, that's going to shift things. It's either going to reaffirm, yep, Litecoin is one step behind Bitcoin and the bears still have a firm grip. Or if we get the bull break, it's going to say, hey, you know, Litecoin's catching up to Bitcoin a little bit. That's a little significant, and we could see the potential of the daily shift in momentum if we can get over these exponential resistances and see a little bit of a bounce. So that's worth keeping an eye on just when you're trying to determine who to play, Litecoin or Bitcoin. BCH USD, very similar to Ethereum. So again, we have this setup where Bitcoin and Litecoin weekly charts are very similar. And Ethereum and BCH weekly charts are similar. Obviously, where we're coming from is different, but the last few months is similar. So bullish reversal candlestick looking for the higher low. Again, the three scenarios. A bull move to a lower high, and then a continued tightening range, a V-shaped recovery, and a break of 1844, which is not likely in my opinion, or the bear scenario is a lower high and then a lower low. Again, I think a bull break is coming. I gave my analysis on the weekly time frame for Bitcoin. What's the percentage I think that we're going to break? And as we were down near 7,000, my odds were 60% for a bear break and 40% for a bull break. And that was because we needed $700 for a bear break and we needed $3,000 for a bull break. So the odds favor the bears in that scenario. If we get back into the middle of the range, my odds are going to shift and it's going to favor the bulls for a couple of reasons. And I'm trying not to be too biased because, again, I gave my insight on the vast majority of the market benefiting from a bull break and referring to exchanges and obviously retail staying interested, because if you want this space to stay volatile and you want there to be continued trading volume, you want there to be interest from retailers, you want to see articles on Bitcoin, you want to see it on CNBC. That's where you get the volume, liquidity, and trading opportunity that we saw over the last year. If we see a bear break of this pattern, people are going to lose interest. I am going to lose interest. I'm going to transfer more money out of crypto back into stocks. And a lot of other people are going to do the same. And we're going to see lower volume, not after the break. The break's going to have high volume. But if it were a bear break, we would see into the end of the year, lower volume. Exchanges are going to make less money on fees, new user signups, all these things. And we're going to see volume drop off, volatility drop off, and trading opportunity drop off. And if you take an investment or a speculative asset like this and you go from 20,000 down to 3,000 and you lose 85% value, that's going to stick with people. People are now in the know. I know people in the past have experienced this before and Bitcoin kept going, but that wasn't mainstream. And now we're mainstream. And if you lose 85% from the top, you are going to have a bad rep and a bad history moving forward. So the bulls really want this level to hold. I do believe that the market is going to see a bull break for all of these reasons. But again, I'm trying not to let my opinion I'm trying not to let my opinion interfere with my trading too much. I'm going to stick to the charts and look at what the chart's telling me and base everything off of that. So BCH daily time frame, we did break the daily higher low patterns. That's the only one of the four that have broke that level. Let's see what it looks like on the 4-hour time frame, where we had our uptrend still maintain the higher lows on the 4-hour. So we're getting some interesting setups on the daily and 4-hour time frames. We did have a little, that's essentially a double top, but higher low, double top, another higher low, and then a bull break. But because of this sideways consolidation before the bull break, the candlestick changed and then we dropped to a lower low. So this is a scenario where the time changing over is what determines what the candlesticks look like, obviously. And I often can discount that where, well, who says the day closes? It's TradingView that says the day closes at 7 p.m. Eastern, and who makes that determination? If the candlestick would look different if it closed at midnight, or it would look different if it closed at noon. So I always take it with a grain of salt what the candlestick shape is, and I always zoom into the shorter term time frame to get the real details of what's going on. Because if you show me this on the daily and you say, we broke the daily higher low pattern, more often than not, this is going to indicate a loss of the higher low pattern on the 4-hour time frame. So just by odds alone, that's what my guess would have been if you show me the setup. Then I go and look at the details and say, oh wait, we didn't really lose the higher low pattern. We stayed in a tightening range and the bulls got a break. And it was just the day switching over that made the candlestick look like that shape, because we traded sideways, the day closed, a new day started, then we set our 4-hour higher low. So it changes the way things look. So I don't let time rule the candlesticks. I always want the details of what's going on within that time frame on those candlesticks. So BCH, the same as everybody else, 4-hour higher low, anything above 960 will have a higher low on the 4-hour, keeping the bulls in control. Our resistance is 1045, and the bull break will really get going if we get over 1081. So you can see all 4 of these names have a level, the top of a bounce back on May 24th, where if that breaks, there's some decent space to the upside due to the dump that was preceding that bounce attempt. So we'll be watching that level along with daily exponential resistances, again being tested here, could still reject from these levels, decreasing volume. The bulls want to see an uptick in volume on all of these names today. We'll see if that's how it ends up playing out. But just taking it 4-hour time frame, and again, I'm zooming out more. I'm not playing I did play the 15-minute time frame on that oversold dump, but that was with a little help of an alert, and I was just ready and waiting. The trade came to me in that scenario. But here I'm just looking at the 4-hour daily, weekly, and being very patient, working on my swing trading game, and hoping that the bulls can change this daily trend to give us confidence in our weekly high or low and continue tightening range. And again, if you are learning technical analysis, trading is new to you, this is still a difficult trading environment as long as the weekly chart is within this equilibrium pattern. And I saw a good, I don't even know where I'm seeing it now, but there was a video the other day which talked about, it might have even been Carter Thomas back to Coin Mastery, and I think it was him. So he made a really good point where if you can be patient and wait for these opportunities to come along, and you can wait a whole year for an opportunity or a couple years, and if you strike that moment and have the game plan ready and are ready to go, that makes your year. And obviously that was cryptocurrency in 2017, but if you're a trader and you're newer and you're trying to trade within the tightening equilibrium pattern, you're probably giving back some money in fees and profit while you learn and taking some losses. And if you just sit there and wait for the weekly equilibrium to break clearly and then trade that break, your odds of winning will be a lot higher. And that's the scenario where, for me in my trading career the last 8 years, this has happened 3 times. It's happened with USMJ back in 2013-14. It's happened with Canadian MJ in 2017 and now this year. And it's happened with cryptocurrency in 2017, where it's just huge opportunity. And when that happens, I'm going all in, I'm going real aggressive, and I'm hitting it really hard because I know that opportunity is not going to last as long as we would like it to. And I was very pleased with how long 2017 crypto lasted. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting for these high probability opportunities, I'm scaling back my trading. I'm being more cautious. I'm not going all in. So waiting for the weekly equilibrium to break could be the most beneficial thing to do as a trader. And then you just practice in the meantime, whether it's paper trading or small amounts, things like that. And just to go back again, we've been trading in the Canadian MJ space weekly equilibriums now. It's a very similar setup. We got the bull break already, and it's just really easy gains on this bull break. It broke bullish at 31.46, and we got up to $40, over 20% move in just 3 weeks. And now Cron is another play that's about to do it. And we were in, or at least I was in this play before the equilibrium broke because same sector as WEED, same setup. So I took the gamble that it's going to break bullish because it was more than a 50-50 in my opinion. We just broke bullish on Friday over 874, and now we're going to see how much follow through the bulls can get for that move. So again, same long drawn out patterns, just patiently waiting for the break and playing that and being more aggressive with the more macro trade signal going off. So that's all we got for today. We'll see if the bulls can keep up this momentum. They're certainly in control at the sign of this video, or the start of this video. Let's see, what are we going to do for good things today? Today I'm going to make that review video for the blockchain conference. So Transparency 18, and either today or tomorrow I'll upload that. Just some fundamental information in the sector, some exciting things on the cutting edge of what's to come in the transport sector, how blockchain could potentially be implemented, how it will be implemented, and what my game plan is for learning a new sector fundamentally, which I'm really excited about. Like I said, constantly learning over the last years of trading, but I'm about to dive in to something new, and it's got me excited. I'm learning from scratch all over again and going through my routine of studying and listening to things and reading articles and taking notes and doing my own research, and reminds me back in the good old days 8 years ago of getting into trading. So I appreciate you all watching. Thanks for the likes and the shares. They definitely help and mean a lot and do have a significant impact. So that 2 seconds we do appreciate. Thanks again. We'll see you tomorrow.